Frank Sinatra showered 12 times a day, changed his clothes 3 times daily, owned a cologne collection worth more than most people's homes. But this wasn't vanity, it was obsession. Barbara Sinatra watched her husband battle what we now recognize as severe OCD for over 2 decades. In the 1940s, Tommy Dorsey's band nicknamed him Lady Macbeth for his compulsive hand-washing. The man who seemed to control everything couldn't control the rituals destroying his relationships. This is the untold story of Sinatra's hidden disorder. Tommy Dorsey's band members nicknamed him Lady Macbeth during their years together in the 1940s, watching him constantly wash his hands between sets, before meals, after handshakes, and whenever he perceived contamination. His daughter, Nancy Sinatra, confirmed these compulsions in authorized interviews, describing how her father's need for control manifested in ritualistic behaviors that governed every aspect of his daily life. Medical historians reviewing his documented behaviors have identified classic symptoms consistent with clinical OCD: intrusive thoughts about contamination, compulsive cleaning rituals, extreme distress when routines were disrupted, and the use of rituals to manage overwhelming anxiety. In Sinatra's era, mental health treatment carried devastating social stigma. What modern psychologists would immediately recognize as obsessive-compulsive disorder was dismissed as eccentricity or perfectionism. The entertainment industry had no framework for understanding that Sinatra's constant showering, his insistence on specific room temperatures, his inability to tolerate certain fabrics or scents, and his rigid routines weren't character flaws, but symptoms of a treatable psychiatric condition. This untreated OCD shaped every intimate relationship he attempted, creating impossible standards that no human partner could meet. George Jacobs' memoir, The Real Source and Its Controversies. The primary source for almost all detailed claims about Sinatra's private complaints regarding women's hygiene is George Jacobs, whose memoir, Mr. S. My Life with Frank Sinatra, was published in 2003, 5 full years after Sinatra died, and could no longer respond to or dispute its contents. Jacobs served as Sinatra's valet from 1953 to 1968, 15 years of intimate access to the singer's private life, personal habits, and unfiltered opinions. However, the circumstances surrounding Jacobs' departure and the timing of his memoir raised significant questions about reliability and motivation. Jacobs was fired by Sinatra in 1968 after the singer discovered his valet was having an affair with Ava Gardner's maid. The dismissal was bitter and final. Sinatra never spoke to Jacobs again. The memoir appeared 35 years after these events, written by a man with obvious financial incentives and potentially colored memories shaped by decades of distance and resentment. Tina Sinatra, Frank's daughter, publicly disputed many claims in the book, calling it gossipy and questioning its accuracy. The Sinatra family's official position characterized the memoir as sensationalized storytelling designed for commercial success rather than historical accuracy. What's crucial to understand is that much of what we know about Sinatra's private opinions comes from this single source, a disgruntled former employee writing decades after events without corroboration from other witnesses and after his former boss could no longer defend himself or provide alternative perspectives. Jacobs had valuable insights from his years of close proximity, but his memoir also served personal and financial interests that complicate its reliability as a historical document. The telephone game nature of celebrity gossip means that Jacobs' claims have been repeated, embellished, and transformed into accepted facts through sheer repetition across decades. The Ava Gardner exception. Why she's different. Ava Gardner occupies a unique position in any examination of Sinatra's relationships because verified facts about their connection directly contradict the narrative of hygiene-based disgust. Gardner and Sinatra married in 1951, separated after barely 1 year of cohabitation in 1952, yet remained legally married until their divorce was finalized in 1957. But the story doesn't end with divorce papers. It continues for another 41 years until Sinatra's death in 1998. Barbara Sinatra confirmed in interviews that throughout their marriage, which lasted from 1976 until Frank's death, Ava Gardner's photograph remained on his nightstand, not hidden in a drawer, not packed away with other mementos, but displayed prominently beside his bed, a daily reminder that Barbara would never fully possess her husband's heart. This wasn't a brief phase or temporary nostalgia. For 5 decades, through 3 subsequent marriages, through countless other relationships and affairs, Sinatra kept Gardner's image within reach. When Sinatra died on May 14, 1998, his family discovered specific instructions in his will regarding burial items. He wanted to be interred with 3 things: a bottle of Jack Daniels, a pack of Tootsie Rolls, and Ava Gardner's love letters. His last documented words, spoken while holding her photograph, were reportedly, "I'm losing." If Gardner truly repulsed him with her scent of cigarettes and alcohol, if her presence genuinely triggered his contamination fears, why did he spend 50 years unable to let her go? Why did he ask to be buried with her words against his heart? The answer reveals that whatever Sinatra said in moments of anger or frustration, his actions told a completely different story. Marilyn Monroe's reality, the documented pharmaceutical tragedy. Marilyn Monroe's story intersects with Sinatra's in 1961 during a brief affair, but the context of that timing is medically significant. By 1961, Monroe was prescribed at least 38 different medications by various Hollywood doctors. Her autopsy report, which became public record after her death on August 5, 1962, documented chloral hydrate, Nembutal, and multiple barbiturates in her system. Medical science confirms that barbiturates and chloral hydrate excrete through sweat glands, literally altering body chemistry and creating distinctive odors that have nothing to do with personal hygiene. Marilyn Monroe's psychiatrist, Dr. Ralph Greenson's clinical notes, which were reviewed during investigations after her death, describe periods of severe depression where she neglected basic self-care, including bathing, not because of character flaws, but because of depressive episodes exacerbated by pharmaceutical dependency. If Sinatra noticed anything unusual about Monroe's scent during their brief time together, he was smelling the chemical cocktail that Hollywood's medical establishment was pumping into her vulnerable body. The real story isn't that Marilyn Monroe had poor hygiene, it's that the studio system and complicit doctors were slowly killing her with prescription drugs, while men evaluated her worth based on whether she met their olfactory standards. Marilyn Monroe worked 16-hour days under scorching studio lights, corseted into impossible gowns, managing anxiety and exhaustion while projecting constant perfection. Frank Sinatra chain-smoked Camel cigarettes, consuming 3 packs daily throughout most of his adult life. He drank Jack Daniel's bourbon heavily, often before performances, during shows, and long into the night. Multiple sources confirm he used amphetamines to maintain energy for grueling performance schedules, then used alcohol and sedatives to come down from the stimulants. Barbara Sinatra confirmed he wore heavy cologne specifically to mask the smell of cigarette smoke that permeated his clothes, skin, and hair. George Jacobs himself documented in his memoir that alcohol would seep through Sinatra's pores during particularly intense performances, creating a distinct odor that everyone around him could detect. Yet no member of Sinatra's entourage ever compiled a ranked list of his worst smells. No valet published a memoir cataloging the times bourbon sweat soaked through his tuxedo or tobacco breath overwhelmed a dressing room. Men with power critique. Women without equivalent power get critiqued. Sinatra could smell like a distillery wrapped in cigarette smoke, while judgment about his authentic masculine essence circulated. But when women showed identical human realities, they ended up being discussed as failures of feminine perfection decades after their deaths. Like and share and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.